Charles Edward Stewart Sr., my daddy. Mr. Stewart, my daddy, was a native of Unsung, Mississippi, born to Mrs. Loda Burton and the late Mrs. Charles Edward Stewart Sr. He was raised by Christian grandparents and became acquainted with the Lord at an early age. His family and friends described him as a well-mannered youth. He dared to dream. He moved to Metairie at the age of 12. He attended John H. Morton, where he played several competitive sports. My daddy was lucky enough to meet my mama, Miss Betty Jean Woodard, and to that union, he was blessed with two beautiful children, me and my sister, Felicia Stewart. He's also fortunate enough to have 4 grandchildren. My dad became interested in the construction business at an early age. In his early years, he became a laborer. Shortly thereafter, he became a foreman. And then he began working for himself. At the age of 24, he had several contracts, including 14 million. Still looking for that 14 million, Daddy. In 1986, my daddy began to take an interest in African American representation on the Jefferson Parish School Board, probably by that action because of an attempt by a teacher to get me expelled. I remember that. Due to that, he galvanized with the community to fight against racial inequality on the school board. He began working with the local community leaders who also shared his interest in, again, educating others in the community about their voting rights and their need to exercise their right. Because of my daddy, the commitment to equality, the first African American was appointed to the Jefferson Parish School Board. Utilizing his personal funds, my daddy went on to organize Shrewsbury organization, which later became East Jefferson Coalition for Leadership and Development, which began with my dad serving as the president and treasurer, and me serving as vice president and secretary. In 1987, the coalition filed a lawsuit against the parish council in the effort to create a majority African American voting district. My dad often neglected a thriving business that he had to endure a lawsuit sustained in the course of 1991. The lawsuit was won. As a result, the first African American was elected to the Jefferson Parish Council. Since then, my dad has helped to launch many successful political careers and election campaigns. He has received numerous awards from community organizations, civil associations, and political leaders, including one from the Governor Edwin Edwards because of his unsurpassed dedication and political equality. The Coalition for Leadership and Development is the most well-respected African American organization in Jefferson Parish. As a child, my dad dared to dream, and he worked very hard to keep his dreams alive.
Now we're going to ask that Mr. Perry Burton would come and speak. This is Charles' brother.
I don't know what to say, really. First, my obedience to God. I want to give him all the honor and the glory. And I just want to say, I don't know what to say, really. I know my brother, he did a whole lot of, he's been doing a lot of this politicking since I was a little kid, and I used to tell him all the time, man, why is you running up and down the street? foolishness. But anyway, the foolishness paid off for him, and you know, he helped a lot of other people do a lot of things. You know, I used to say to you, I said, man, you wasted your time. But you know, I was wrong. You was right. You was right. I'm a man now. I can tell you was right. I was wrong. I wasn't wrong back then. And bro, I just want to say, man, I am so proud of you, and I'm so glad that you're my big brother. I love you to death. He's always there for me. I drove 400 miles just to see you get your award. All right. Y'all have a nice day.
Now we're going to have a selection by the Bethesda House of Prayer Praise and Worship Team. Amen. Give them a hand.
This is Charles Stewart.
And the Reverend Dr. Anthony Williams.
We are Church Without Walls.
And we are here today to give you information that you don't normally get at church.
We come your way every Monday morning, 11 to 12.
Call in with your comment or your questions, and we'll be glad to try and answer them for you. If we don't have the answer today, we will get it to you on a message.
Don't you dare miss it.
The New Orleans Talk Network, now on your mobile device, on your computer, in your ear, and interactive. It's new, it's innovative, and it's on your mobile device. Android, iPhone, iPad, and on your computer. Take us wherever you go. Because we're interactive. 504-341-TALK. That's 504-341-8255.
Hi, I'm Sheriff Joe Lapinto, and you are watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
This is Congressman Cedric Richmond, and you're watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
What is New Orleans Talk Network? It's today's hottest topics with an added flair. You get ready, because the conversation will be hot, and better yet, mobile. Download the New Orleans Talk Network app, available on Android, iPhone, iPad, and you can listen to us on the web at www.neworleanstalknetwork.com. Write down our talk line at 504-341-TALK. That's 504-341-8255. Interactive and worldwide. That's what we are. Join in on the real conversation and tell a friend about the New Orleans Talk Network.
This is Charles Stewart.
And the Reverend Dr. Anthony Williams.
We are Church Without Walls.
And we are here today to give you information that you don't normally get at church.
We come your way every Monday morning, 11 to 12.
Call in with your comment or your questions, and we'll be glad to try and answer them for you. If we don't have the answer today, we will get it to you on a message.
Don't you dare miss it. This is Charles Stewart.
And the Reverend Dr. Anthony Williams.
We are Church Without Walls.
And we are here today to give you information that you don't normally get at church.
We come your way every Monday morning, 11 to 12.
Call in with your comment or your questions, and we'll be glad to try and answer them for you. If we don't have the answer today, we will get it to you on a message.
Don't you dare miss it.
What is New Orleans Talk Network? It's today's hottest topics with an added flair. You get ready.
This is Congressman Cedric Richmond, and you're watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
Hi, this is Stan Schofield, and I'm inviting all of my KWK family and my family to watch Church Without Walls, 11 o'clock on Mondays, for the greatest and latest show around. Thank you.
This is Congressman Cedric Richmond, and you're watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
Hi, this is Stan Schofield, and I'm inviting all of my KWK family and my family to watch Church Without Walls, 11 o'clock on Mondays, for the greatest and latest show around. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sheriff Joe Lapinto, and you are watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
This is Charles Stewart.
And the Reverend Dr. Anthony Williams.
We are Church Without Walls.
And we are here today to give you information that you don't normally get at church.
We come your way every Monday morning, 11 to 12.
Call in with your comment or your questions, and we'll be glad to try and answer them for you. If we don't have the answer today, we will get it to you on a message.
Don't you dare miss it.
This is Congressman Cedric Richmond, and you're watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
Hi, this is Stan Schofield, and I'm inviting all of my KWK family and my family to watch Church Without Walls, 11 o'clock on Mondays, for the greatest and latest show around. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sheriff Joe Lapinto, and you are watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
Praise the Lord.
Amen.
We bless his name.
Amen.
And we thank him for who he are. For there is none like him. And none that can compare to him. For he is greater than the greatest. And he is wiser than the wisest. And as we come to celebrate the life and the service and the work of all of our dear friend, Mr. Charles Stewart, who has given himself so unselfishly and so untiringly to advance the ideals of freedom and justice and equality for all of God's creation. And that is a blessing. And we thank him for never giving up, but keep the fight going. And so he has paid an incredible dues. He has given himself to advance those causes of goodwill that would impact our communities in a better and a greater way. So now it gives all of us an opportunity to come and express our appreciation for his service and all of the efforts that he has made over the years. And I believe even right now that God is ordaining this moment where he can bring about and foster some healing in our community over the years, because the enemy has caused some divisiveness, and oftentimes he does that through misunderstanding and miscommunication, because we have so many leaders here who have done so much to contribute and impact our lives in such a very significant way. People like Donald Jones served on the council. People like Mr. Cedric Floyd, and like the honorable judges here, and like Mr. Shepard, and like Brian Carter, who is out there always on the field working with me, Mr. Penn. What a time that even now, that as God orchestrated this event of celebration, that he can bring us all back together and bring about some healing and bring about some unity and some togetherness. So let me quickly seize this moment for a minute. Even as those of you who go forward to offer up yourselves for public service, you don't have to tear down another person. All right.
Amen. That's right. Amen.
I'm going to join in with the mindset of Miss Obama. When they don't go low, we go high.
That's right. All right.
So I thank you all for what you all have done. So we set aside this date for this man who has given himself. And I want to tell y'all, he has made an incredible dent into the political system here in Jefferson Parish. But on the other hand, I want to tell y'all, just in case y'all don't know, he ended up on a blacklist. He made great sacrifices. The construction business went out as related to him. But you know what? Unlike so many others, he kept at it. Life is 10% of what we make it. 90% of how we take it. It's just like a taxi meter, keeps ticking whether we're moving or standing still. Charles kept on moving and it's still moving, you all. And so we thank you, Brother Stewart. Let us bow our head in word of prayer as we prepare to give. Eternal God, our Father, we bless your name right now. And we thank you for your awesomeness and for your power. You're clothed with majesty and honor, and you wrap yourself up in light. You stretch it out the heavens like a curtain, and you make it the clouds your chariots. And we thank you for standing in the shadow, orchestrating this event, as you have done in the past, to bring about purpose and destiny for your people. Now we ask that you will speak afresh to our hearts even right now, and purpose in our heart to give generously and freely to your servant, Charles Stewart, who has done so much to improve the quality of life for your people. And as you speak into the ear of each person, you said in your word in Isaiah 30:21, you will tell us just what to do. And as you speak, may we hear your voice and no other voice. And we thank you right now for purposing in each individual's heart and ear, and that you will direct them to give accordingly. It is in the most precious and powerful and perfect name of our Savior we pray. Amen. Amen. Now I'm going to need a little help. Now, Brother Perry Stewart, I'm going to ask that you come and join me. I want you to stand right here. This is an envelope. It's so good to see you. I want you to stand right there. And Brother Carter, would you come and help us out? Brother Brian Carter. Good man. Always done good. God bless you. You know, goodness does not always consist in outward things we do, but the inward person we are. Isn't that right? All right. Now, this is what I want you to do. We trust that God has spoken into your ear and have directed you to give accordingly, as He has purposed it in your heart. And you know, and we are in agreement as to why we're here, to be a blessing to this man, to this leader. So, those of you who are going to be writing out checks, whether it's $100 or $200, $300 or $500, whatever the Lord has led you to give, I want you to make that check directly to Mr. Stewart, to Charles Stewart. Not to the coalition. This is for Charles Stewart. Say Charles Stewart. Come on, y'all. Say Charles Stewart. Charles Stewart. This is for Charles Stewart. So make out your checks to Charles Stewart. Now we understood? Amen? Amen? All right. Now as we come, whatever monetary gift that you have, we want you to just drop it in this envelope. We don't need to know what you've given. We trust that you're going to do the best that you can, right? All right? And God will do the blessing, and He will do the multiplying, and He will do the stretching. All right? All right. So God bless you. So I'm like that each one of you all will stand now. Will stand. And those on my right, if you will begin from the back and just come around.
This is Congressman Cedric Richmond, and you're watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
Hi, this is Stan Schofield, and I'm inviting all of my KWK family and my family to watch Church Without Walls, 11 o'clock on Mondays, for the greatest and latest show around. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sheriff Joe LaPinto, and you are watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
This is Charles Stewart.
And the Reverend Dr. Anthony Williams.
We are Church Without Walls.
And we are here today to give you information that you don't normally get at church.
We come your way every Monday morning, 11 to 12.
Call in with your comment or your questions, and we'll be glad to try and answer them for you. If we don't have the answer today, we will get it to you on a message.
Don't you dare miss it.
This is Congressman Cedric Richmond, and you're watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
Hi, this is Stan Schofield, and I'm inviting all of my KWK family and my family to watch Church Without Walls, 11 o'clock on Mondays, for the greatest and latest show around. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sheriff Joe LaPinto, and you are watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
This is Charles.
May God bless you, Brother Brian. Would you give us the honor of praying for that offering, my brother? All right, okay. Father in heaven, we thank you for the gifts that have been freely sold into this offering. And we ask that you will bless it and multiply it, and that it may serve the purpose for Mr. Stewart in which you have given it. And we thank you and bless every gift who have given this day. Is in the most precious and powerful and perfect name of our Lord and our Savior Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. I want you to give that directly to Mr. Stewart. Let the church say amen. God bless you. And now we at this hour, and Mrs. Stewart have requested, I'm doing the introduction, and after the introduction, Mrs. Stewart requested that Dr. Williams do a certain solo, and then Mr. Hawkins, and then our speaker. But I am so honored you all to have this opportunity to introduce our very guest speaker today. I want to assure you is that he is a powerful, powerful man of God. He has traveled across the length and the breadth of our state and, by the way, the nation, fighting for freedom and justice and equality and fairness for everyone. Justice is not a systematic movement of all things that are black to all things that are white, but it is an emphatic movement of all things that are wrong to all things that are right. And this man is in the trenches every day. He's a man of undeniable courage. He's a man of a resilient spirit and a man of calm resolve. There's so much that I can tell you about this very distinguished leader today, but time would not allow me. But I will tell you is that I am proud to be associated and affiliated with a man of such great courage and determination, a man that is full of integrity, a man that is full of righteousness, who go into the presence of the Lord each and every day. He is the state president of the NAACP, and I see nothing but even greater things on the horizon for him around the nation. So after Sister Dr. Williams, I'm sorry, okay. After Mr. T.C. Hawkins, I saw him in the back. Where you, Brother T.C.? Where you at? Okay, good. After Brother T.C., you come on up. And then Dr. Williams, is my following me right now? Then the speaker, and then you after. Okay, good, all right. So let me get it right. So after the speaker, then Dr. Williams will honor the request of our honorary today. So come on up, my brother, bless us again. And after this great man who I've been knowing for some years, hadn't seen him in a long time, then after he sings, then the next voice you will hear, that of our leader, a man of prodigious energy, Dr. Mike McClanahan, the state president of the NAACP. Bless you, brother. Amen. God bless you.
A little short summary of the song that I'm about to sing. When President Obama got elected, me and my 7 sisters and brothers out of the 13 of us decided that we were going to Washington to see the inauguration. And the coldest day of my life. But my father was at that time, I think something in the late 80s, and he couldn't go, and we wanted to let him see it through our eyes. And coming back to the airport, some of the brothers of a different mother were a little upset that the inauguration had went on and the results. And they were really treating us sort of bad. They were throwing their luggage, hollering at you, come on, come on, come on, move it. And one of the persons grabbed my suitcase and he said, come on, brother, I'm just living the dream. Yeah. And so, sitting on the plane, I wrote this song, I'm living a dream. Right, brother. Right.
walk miles in unknown territories. I saw people from near and far. Strangers became neighbors right where they were. Millions more than eyes could see. White, yellow, gray, black and brown, we were all free. I'm living the dream. Millions worldwide have slept, swearing we never see a person of color take this sacred oath in Washington, D.C. So stand tall with liberty, embrace it all, America is still free. I'm living the dream. From every mountainside, I thought I heard an angel sing. Oh, let freedom ring, let it ring. I'm living a dream. I'm living a dream.
if I didn't do this. We have councilperson Cynthia Lee Ching right here with us today, and she took some time out to come be with us today. We're gonna give her a chance later to say something, but I would be remiss without personally acknowledging her to being with us today. She's sitting right there. I think that's the husband. Right, okay. That's okay. And she's with us today, and she weathered the bad weather to come be with us, and so we just want to personally take this moment and acknowledge her, hopefully one day, amen?
And let the church say amen. 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 It's been a great program so far. I thank the Lord for having this opportunity. First, giving my obedience to an awesome God who but for love sent his only begotten Son to die for my sins. To the sacrificial lamb who went to a place of skulls called Golgotha's Hill so that I could be with him in paradise. To the Holy Spirit, my comforter and my guide. To the angel of this house, all those who labor and co-labor in the gospel. To my dear friend, Dr. Byron Clay, to my friend and honoree, Dr. Charles Stewart, to officers, members, and friends who come out to pay tribute to an awesome God and to a great man of God.
Yes, Lord.
I bring you greetings from Baton Rouge, my church, Church of Life, my pastor, Steve Beckham. It is indeed an honor to always be amongst those who proclaim to love the God, the Lord, and who actually openly love him and show love for him. I brought with me my ride or die, my wife, Tricia McClanahan, and a few of my members from Jefferson Parish are here with me now, with us celebrating. And I also have my district vice president, Reverend Kevin Gabriel, and his wife here. Thank you all for coming. And I see so many friends I have amongst the audience. Mark and I were classmates in law school. Thank you, Mark, for coming. And see Derek Shep, a good friend of mine, been fighting in the legislature for some years. Can't wait till you get back, brother. And also my good friend Cedric Floyd, man, we love him because he's a numbers guy. You know, he knows how to put the numbers right, so we get more African Americans elected to these offices, and we look forward to continue working with you, brother. But I'm not going to keep you long. I was called to bring some encouraging words about the unsung hero, Brother Charles Stewart. It is good for brothers and sisters to dwell together in unity for a time such as this, to honor a man who I've come to know, respect, and love, Brother Stewart. For the word tells us to give honor where honor is due. And so today we're calling him an unsung hero. And so you ask, what is an unsung hero? I'm glad you asked. An unsung hero is defined as a person who has achieved great things or committed acts of bravery or self-sacrifice. It is not celebrated or recognized. An unsung hero may be someone who acts bravery in battle without notice, or someone who sacrificed himself for the good of the group or the good of the community without recognition. Our communities are full of heroes, not because they would like to be called heroes. It is because they have performed acts of heroism. Unlike the heroes that you see on television or the movie screen or on video games. When I was coming up, there was no Facebook, there was no internet, there was no Twitter, Instagram, Periscope, or we did not even have cable, believe that or not. So my heroes were super friends. I was a fan of Superman, Aquaman, and Rifleman. Y'all must know that. Yeah. Kunta Kinte, and Dr. Martin Luther King, and President Lyndon B. Johnson, and Governor Edward Edwards and President Obama. Those were my heroes, Samuel D. Cross and a few others. But my main hero was and still is Dorothy McClanahan Green Clay, affectionately known as my mother. As you can see, I have matured in my heroes as I've developed in life, as my heroes went from fictitious characters to people who've actually done work in society. Being now 54 years young, my mother far tops the list of heroes in my life because I've seen her do something with nothing. As a single parent raising 6 kids, she taught us all values of not only taking, but giving more than you take. And praising and worship the Lord. Because if all else fails, the Lord said he would never leave you. Come on now, I got some people that said that he would never forsake you. And I heard someone say a few minutes ago, alluded to, I think it was Mr. Floyd, talk about the Civil Rights Act of, no, it was Mark, talk about during the Civil Rights era, and before then, we had more African Americans elected to the state houses and the local municipal bodies than ever before. At some point in time, laws changed and we forgot. So we used to have the right to vote, and then they took that right away because their grandfather clause came in and they put up all these impediments to stop us from what? Voting. Because they knew that our voice was our vote. And so as we have heroes then, and some of our heroes have been celebrated in the shortest month of the year called Black History Month, or the month of February, but we take time like this to celebrate the unsung heroes like Mr. Stewart in small, intimate communities like this. And we celebrate them because we understood that they had some influence. You know, I heard the judges talk about Mr. Stewart, and I haven't known him that long, but I feel like I've known him a long time. One thing I'm in with the audience here, the guest that's spoken, he can talk. Because when he calls me, I said, oh yeah, I can talk too. I be liking to talk. Then when Brother Stewart calls, I'm like, let me see how much energy I have on my phone, so I'm gonna go dead on it. And it's funny that I was called to speak on it, because it took me, I started writing a speech on it, or developing about early in the week, about Monday. And as I started developing it, nothing would work. And so I got up Saturday morning about 3 o'clock. I started working on it. And then by then he and I had talked about, the last couple of days, probably about 3 or 4 times the last couple of days. And so I started asking him questions. No, you ain't asking me questions. I said, where are you from? He said, I'm originally from Mississippi, Macomb, Osaka. I said, hold up, let me quote some names for you. He said, oh yeah, I know all them people, right? And the more we talk, I said, let me be quiet because we might be what? Cousins. Y'all know y'all kin somewhere, right? I said, let me be quiet because I'm asking me for some money, right? Where my money, kinfolk, right? and talking about the unsung heroes in our community, we understand that we don't celebrate like we should. You know, I heard someone say when someone dies, how good a great person they were. But I also remember to give them their flowers while they yet are alive. Right. And so we're here today, brother, to give you like flowers. Give you flowers, or give you a tree or a shrub, whatever you like. But while you're yet alive, because I understand how Jefferson Parish was a racist parish. If nothing else, the king racist man was the sheriff, Harry Lee. Say that, Doc. We could have a parish like this. You could not even cross the bridge and come down, and you were being stopped. I understand that. I understand how you go to jail, you might not survive, you might not come out alive. But yet and still, you've been on the battlefield for a long time. And we talk about our unsung heroes. What are unsung heroes? People that you could always call on no matter what. And so writing this speech, I was like, what is an unsung hero in our community? He's an influencer. That means if I got in trouble, I could call him. He didn't have to be an attorney or work down to the courthouse. But if I called him, he would get something done. My children would get out of trouble. That means if I needed some food, his brother already said he would reach into his pocket and pull out some money and make something happen. Or the school system is so bad, they kick our kids out of school for the little of nothing. Because they understand if I educate them, they'll keep on moving up. But if I uneducate them or don't educate them, then I can send them to jail or to the grave at an early age. They understand that. But this brother been fighting for education because he supported the lawsuit out of his own pocket. Huh, brother? We thank you.
He made it happen.
And so, what do we say? How do we have unsung heroes? In writing this, I said, he probably does this and does that. So I was making a little note. Everyone talks about just those things that I have right here. That they could always count on him to help when help was needed. Because in our communities, we know and understand that back in the days, the white man would come into our community. He would have some beer, some wine, some fried chicken, and a few dollars. Had your vote. Am I lying? No. Had your vote. I know. It happens all over America. Happened in the little small town I'm from called Zawali also. And it's happening today. But they don't have to do it any longer because the brother and I talked Friday how, one, we've devalued education. You know, we fought and continue to fight to keep our kids in school. They fight to keep them out. But we don't even fight to send them to school.
That's right.
They'll send them everywhere but to school. They send them on the corners. You don't have to go to school, baby. You can stay home. You sick. We don't give you no aspirin. When I was little, you had no other choice. Headache or no headache. You're going to school. And by the way, let me put some on your butt to make sure that your head feel better. Send you to school. The brother and I talked about that. The other thing that we know an influencer does, and Mr. Stewart does, he talks about providing job opportunities in our communities. Job opportunities. Just think about this. It's not that you'll be able to get a little money, but you get that money to take care of your family. But the money in our communities is always recycled in our communities. That means if I had some money to provide for my kids, then they would go to the corner store because at the time our communities were full of people that owned stores like us. We were the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. Back then we owned nothing in our communities now. Communities don't even look like us. I can't tell my son, I want you to be an entrepreneur. I want you to be like Mr. Johnny. Mr. Johnny don't own that store anymore. He can't be like, but we need to be entrepreneurs. And so when we was talking with the governor on last week, Charles called and said, we need more opportunities in our community. He said, Mike, the next time we talk to him, if we're not talking about providing opportunities for our kids, remind him that he's running for office. Remind him that we need stuff in our community. I said, Brother Charles, if you say it, if you believe it, I'm going to say it.
Say that, God.
If you believe it, I'm going to say it.
All right now.
So the next time we see him, if he's not talking about opportunities for our communities, we're going to let him know that you have a date in October, November, and we're going to remember that. But the other thing that Brother Stewart and I talked about is that our communities, we lack cohesiveness. We lack unity. He said, Brother Mike, I don't know what's happened. What happened to the churches in our community? What happened to the civic and social organizations in our community? We just can't stick together. He said every other race and nationality is always together, but the black folk. I said, Brother Charles, I don't know. I said, Brother Charles, you might need to call God and ask God that question. Because he'll provide an answer. I don't know why we don't stick together. Because there's strength in numbers. There should be unity in our community. It's just not so. We'll find unity for some foolish stuff. If there was a crawfish ball and we all wanted to go to the crawfish ball and eat, But we can't come together when somebody in this community gets shot by the police and he didn't even have a gun or weapon. Nobody's outraged. If they're outraged by a day or two, and things go back to being the way they used to be. And we laughed and we talked about this because he knows my saying is always, in the absence of justice, there should never, ever, ever be any peace. No justice?
No peace.
No peace. That's right. And so as we were talking, when Brother Stewart was laughing, I'm like, oh, here we go again. When he laughed, I said, that mean he gonna talk a little bit more? I also kept with it because I think I had 40% left on my phone, juice, energy. So I said, go ahead, Brother Stewart, I'm with you. Let's keep on moving because he understands that we're in some perilous times in our community. We're in some terrible times and we need to be re-educated as to what really matters to us. And so I took away from him this 3 things. Education. We not only need to send our kids to school or take them to school, we need to be involved with them in school. Secondly, he said that we need to vote because our voice is our vote. A voteless people is a voiceless people. And thirdly, he said, Brother Mike, we're gonna stick together come hell or high water because I'm gonna do my part. And I told him, Brother Stewart, that's right. If we all just do our part, if we all just play the part that we're required to play, that our communities will be a whole lot better today than they ever been. And so, Brother Stewart, I want to tell you this. Your living ain't in vain. Your living is not in vain.
Yes, Lord.
Because you've helped those that you passed this way. Through some word, through some talk, through some thought, and some deed. And so your living is not in vain. And because I know you left it all out here on the playing field. And when you go home to meet your maker, you'll hear thy good and faithful servant. But until then, I'm gonna encourage you to battle on through the night, because we're gonna win the fight. And keep on keeping on, keep on keeping on. Keep your hands in the master's hand, because he said he'll never leave you nor forsake you. The battle is not ours, it's the Lord's. And I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can call me anytime. Just don't call me now because I got about 20% left on my phone. But I do remember this is the last thing he told me. He said, but Mike, they're having a little event for me. He said, because tomorrow is my birthday. Happy birthday to you, brother. And I love you. God bless you.
Alrighty, now we're going to have some acknowledgments, but I would like to say that being here from Texas, I've seen Jefferson Parish come a long way, and I know there were some times that there was some division, but the good thing about it is that we have great leaders like Cynthia Lynn Cumming and other leaders, Derek Shepard, Cedric Floyd, Mark Johnson, Judge Roscoe I see back there, that have worked together regardless of color, race, or creed, or religion, and made a decision that we are all one, and that what matters is what the people need. So at this time, we're going to have Sister Shantae Jones. She's going to come and she's going to do our acknowledgments and let our other distinguished guests speak.
Good afternoon. Before I do that, I have to tell my story about Mr. Charles. He's been in my life since I can remember. As a matter of fact, there's a story that I was 3 years old. My dad and Mr. Charles were exercising. We were walking the track. And I look up at my daddy and I say, Daddy, when is Mr. Charles gonna have his baby? And so that's the story Mr. Charles always tells me about. And I was three. And when I was pregnant with my baby, he brought that up a lot. And he made a lot of jokes about me. But I do have to thank Mr. Charles for always being that person that is in the background but always is working incredibly hard and making a difference for all the people of Jefferson Parish. I see her walking out. Okay. So I was coming to allow some of our community leaders to come up and say a few words for about 2 to 3 minutes. So we would like to have Miss Cynthia Lee Chin, Councilwoman at Large, come up and speak to us for a couple of minutes.
Thank you for having me here, and I've thoroughly enjoyed myself since I've been here. And I'm unlike most of you because I only met Mr. Stewart maybe last week, right? Correct. And I heard through many people that there was a birthday celebration and a celebration in the community. And since that time, quite a few people have told me how influential you are in the community, and I wanted to come here and just thank him for his service in Jefferson Parish and all the people that you've influenced. And I'd like to get a little bit personal because many of you don't know me, but I want, many of you don't know how I got started in politics. And many of you knew my father, who was Sheriff Harry Lee. So I lived in DC, and it was about 1992 time frame, and he came to visit me. And at that time, we were doing a tourist event. One of the museums opened, and it was the Ellis Island Museum. And if you've never been to DC, and if you've never been to, no, I was in the New York time frame, New York. Ellis Island opened. So here I'm a graduate student, and I go to Ellis Island. And in life, maybe you have a life-changing moment, and that day changed my life forever. And I was able to see how our country began, and how it was started by people from all over the world and all nationalities. Yes, yes. And I saw their stories. I could see their shoes, their belts. If you go there, you can see the poems they wrote to their loved ones back home and how they risked their lives to come to this country. Yes. And I realized as a young girl, this is what makes our country so very strong. Yes. And it changed my life. It was life-changing. I was in school for business. I changed my career to public policy. I wrote my paper at school on the Immigration Act. Yes. And when I got out of school, I wanted to work for the Immigration and Naturalization Service. That's how life-changing it was for me, and I worked for them for 10 years. So I have this romantic ideal of America and what it is. And I want to say, Mr. Hawkins, I don't know where you are now, if you're still here. I have, you're just walking in, you're not hearing the story, but I have never heard America the Beautiful sang that way before. It was absolutely heartwarming to me, given my history. And I hope you just give me just another minute. I want to tell you another story, and I'm a little shaken up. I have a son who's 19 now. And you all are going to understand this, and I hope I'm in a house of worship and you can feel my heart. Okay, I'm being very truthful. So he comes home and he says, "Mom, this kid came home and he called me a chink." And I said, "He called you a chink?" And I got the fury in my you know, and I've been called that, okay? I've been called that. And I calmly sat down and I said, now, I probably shouldn't have said this, but I said, you go to school the next day. And when he calls you that again, now this was not the right thing, but I was an angry parent. I said, you call him a redneck, okay? Not the right thing to say. But I said, and when he asks what a redneck is, you tell him to go ask his mother, right? I'm not saying it was the right thing to do. I'm not saying it was the right thing to do. It wasn't. But what my point was, is that level of, and I don't think the boy knew what he was saying. I don't think he knew he was being hateful. But he learned it from his parents. That was my point. You take it to that little boy and you make him go tell the parent. So, in regards to some statements today, I'm going to tell you, I am the only person in this world who can stand up here and say this. My father was Sheriff Harry Lee. He may have been misinterpreted. Goodness knows he did not have a political sense about him to say things. He said it straight from the heart. I'm the only person in this world, because I'm his only child, who can stand here and say he was not a racist.
Amen.
He raised me in the household. I grew up. I have a pure heart. That does not happen. I know what happens in your home. I know the words that are used in the home. I know, you know what's in your parents' heart. And I can stay here and say 1,000% that man is not a racist. Whether you believe me or not, whether you misinterpret him or not, it doesn't matter. But that's my angel up there. Did he make mistakes? Absolutely. But it was not because he did not care about everybody in this parish, no matter what color you are. Thank you very much.
God bless you. God bless you. And I want to seize this opportunity because, you know, interestingly, Cynthia and I were talking the other day, and I was sharing with her, I was in a barber shop when my late father had passed a week later. And the barber shop was jam-packed, you all. I mean, it was jam-packed. You had about 6 barbers in there, 6 different chairs. My dad had just been buried about a week. And so there was a guy sitting in the chair, and he said, y'all talking about Reverend Clay. Reverend Clay wasn't no good. Reverend Clay was this, Reverend Clay was that, right? So the barbers didn't know how to tell him that I was Reverend Clay's son. So we looked up on the continents of all of those barbers and the people that was in the shop, right? And the boy kept on going on. So finally, about 8 minutes later, one of the barbers said, man, he said, why you want to say that about Reverend Clay? That man's son is sitting right there. He said, where? So I said, I'm his son. This is the truth, y'all. And he said, you Reverend Clay's son? And I said, yes, I'm Reverend Clay's son. And he said, man, one thing I'll tell you, Reverend Clay would help anybody. So he changed the tune. Heaven says that, and I said to Cynthia the other day, that there are people who have their perceptions, and some of it is through misinformation and other things, but I would tell you all personally, as I told her many times, one-on-one and in other settings, that I've heard individuals make statements about the sheriff, and I had to stand up and correct them because I do differently. Hello? All right? And I told her is that because I knew him so well, that he was the same way with everybody. And I've heard him told Asian Americans off, Afro Americans off, Caucasian Americans off, and so I knew him personally. And for those of you who don't know, I want you to know that he was a genuine man with a big heart. And lastly, let me tell you this, and I'll take 30 seconds. I'll take 30 seconds, amen. Amen. I'll take 30 seconds. And back in, when Martin Luther King Jr. was fighting for the Civil Rights Bill, so y'all don't know this, Hale Boggs was the House Majority Leader. And her father served as his counsel. And my dad went behind the scene to meet with Hale Boggs and Harry Lee to tell Hale that he needed to push that bill through, to help push that bill through. And because of his efforts and the legal counsel of Sheriff Lee, that voters' right bill went through. Now, I'm not telling you what the Time-Picayune says, and I'm not telling you what the New Orleans Advocate says, or WWL says. I'm telling you what Byron Clay knows. All right? So God bless you. And you got a lot of work to do. We're all gonna work together. We're all gonna work together to come together. Ain't nobody gonna help us, keep us, save us for us but us, right? And let the church say amen. Come on, say it one more time. Amen. God bless you.
Okay, now we would like to have Mr. Derek Shepard come up and just give us some brief words.
First of all, good afternoon. I just want to turn the focus to the Honorary. It's indeed a privilege and an honor to be here. I think protocol was established by Mr. Floyd. I'm running for councilman too, but Today is the day to talk about you. As one of the younger generations, it's indeed an honor and privilege to stand up here and talk about you. I met, the first time I met Mr. Stewart, it was on the losing end of a very competitive race. And I just got my clock cleaned and I didn't know who it was that did it. I was 19, upset that we lost the race, but I was happy to have learned a lot. Sometimes in life it teaches you not only what to do, but what not to do. So I learned that about you. And my first thought of Mr. Stewart is not so much of the speaking, because as young people, as some of you understand, we don't always like to be told things. We like to be shown things. So when I think about Mr. Stewart, I think of him as a verb. He is a man of action. And as somebody who can sit under someone and learn of how to progress and how to move things forward, it's indeed an honor to see somebody who's actually doing the work. So many people who want titles, but they hardly ever want a job. You see, the job is what's more important. The job is what elevates our people. The job is what took us from 1 to 19. The job, doing the work, doing the hard work of sitting there, not being the chief, but being the Indian. Amen. Somebody has to organize and do the walk. Somebody has to place the sign. Somebody has to knock on the door. Somebody has to write down the documentation. Somebody has to make the phone call. Somebody has to make the sacrifice. Somebody has to be there to the point of the person who says, let's implement this plan. Well, as somebody who came up under Jefferson Parish leadership, of Mr. Stewart and Mr. Jones and other mentioned by our judge, it's an honor and a privilege to be here. And Mike, I enjoyed your speech. I enjoyed your coming down from Baton Rouge. I've had the pleasure of working with you, and I know your heart is always in the right place. Amen. Just my last thought is, we as a people, where do we go from here? That's right. Jefferson Parish is the richest parish in the state of Louisiana, with a budget of over $652 million. Our area is the poorest area in the richest parish. Last time I checked, the doctor goes to where it's sick, not to where it's well. Through your leadership and through your example, I stand before you to argue that we must come up not just civil rights, but economic rights. Because when it's all said and done, if I can sit on a bus anywhere I want, but I can't afford to get on it, there's still no opportunity. So if I learn nothing from you, Mr. Stewart, I've learned now, it's not black, white, it's green. And unless we learn that, unless we get to a place where we can understand that our children have to see economic opportunity, then it's all for now. But today is your day, and I just want to celebrate and say thank you for coming. Thank you for allowing me to come. Thank you for allowing me to eat later, because I am hungry. I saw the band setting up, so I am going to catch a beat. And that is not to be used on the campaign, Mr. Floyd, when I'm dancing and two-stepping. Like Dr. Clay said, we're going to keep it clean and honest. So I will catch my two-step. But with that said, it's just it's a privilege to be here. Thank you guys for everything. To God be the glory.
Thank you so much. Now I'm going to ask that everyone would stand as we receive our honoree on today so that he can have his remarks. Mr. Charles E. Stewart! Yeah! Come on, give him a hand!
Right. Want to ask someone to ask the band. I think they, I don't know, I guess I got the right. I got 5 minutes to 5. That's correct. The band gonna start exactly 5 o'clock, and I wish someone would ask them could they hold up 15 minutes. Because when you ask them to play when it's at 5, they gonna kick off. Okay, let's see, ask them to hold up, okay. First I want to give all the honor to God Almighty. Thank Him for being so good to me, able me to stand before all y'all beautiful people. And to all the great men of God, Pastor Jones, Dr. Clay, all the ministers, Reverend William, our speaker, Dr. William, all elected officials, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out. And I enjoy seeing everyone that participated on the program. They said some things, which all of them was true. All some great things. And I think probably had my funeral today. And I think I done started something new. Have your funeral before you die. They said some good stuff there today. And I'm the witness. That's some good stuff they said about me today, and I prayed that I wish I could live up to all that, but it sounded good. But anyway, I think all of y'all, I realized that the weather was bad today. I didn't expect nobody to be here, maybe Pastor Jones, Dr. Clay, a few other faithful, but thank all of y'all for sacrificing the bad weather. You came out and to honor me, and I don't think I deserve this because I'm someone that behind the scene all the time. That's my role, you know. I play the role of a cane maker. And I see my good friend Anthony Penn, man. Stand up, man. Everybody know Brother Penn. And he's another guy behind the scene. I call him my unsung hero. He worked behind the scene to help many, many people get elected. Thank you for coming, my brother. And I thank everyone, all my friends. If I didn't call your name, please don't get upset with me about anything, but I want to thank all my family people that came. And my brother said he came away from Texas, drove 400 miles, so he got to drive 400 back, so 800 miles he came. And I thank him. And I see some people from a long time, 20 what, I think I was hot stuff at a Jerry curl and some friends from, I think I know Yolanda from Dallas, Mary Hurst from Uptown. She's still pretty. Still pretty. She from Edgar. They said, you want a pretty girlfriend, go to Edgar. And that's where she's from, Edgar. Look, I thank everybody from the bottom of my heart. And I just want to say quickly that our speaker, he made a great speech there, and I thank him. I've been knowing him for quite a while. And I said quite a while, it's been a few months, but I feel like I've been knowing him all my life. And he hit some good points. And the one thing that I would like to, before I sit down, because I know y'all want to go eat. I know y'all saying, please, we want to go ahead and band next there. But I think I need to say this, that in his speech, I think he said that I think he said Harry Lee was a racist. I think that was in his speech. And I know he said about the bridge, and I think, I can't correct him, but I think it was Arthur Lawson's. Didn't want them people across that bridge down. I don't think it was Mr. Lee. And I'm saying this to say this is that sometimes we get information that other people say, and oftentimes we get credit for what somebody else do, whether it's good or bad. And when I came on the scene, as a different one said, I know Judge Johnson, him and I, we used to meet up sometime. I think he was like what we was then, a carrier or whatever. We go pick up the check to bring to the people. That we were running. And good friend of Cedric Floyd, and him and I used to be up all night sometime. I used to run back and forth to Tulane University with him during the lawsuit was taking place. What to have a mock trial they used to have at Tulane University. And one thing that I learned, the first political race that I participated in was, you had Sister William and Judge Holmes said that I always protest election. I went up against your dad one time. Sheriff Lee with, I think the general lawyer, I forget his name, Argentini.
And in Salisbury, Sheriff Lee, during that time, he had, I think he may have maybe 8 or 10 people at every corner working for him. And so I decided to go up against him. That's when the organization was Salisbury Community Organization. And I made a homemade ballot. That Friday night, I gave it to some young kids. I said, you put this in everybody's door, and I'll take y'all to Burger King. Get you a Whopper and some fries. They went and knocked on every door in Salisbury, and I kid you not, the next day, the election on the airline side of the Stewart, I think the numbers came in, got something like 790 votes. Sheriff Lee 300. So wow, I got him. On Causeway, 1,400 votes. Sheriff Lee 20-something hundred, or 10. Got him again. Monday, 2 deputies from Sheriff Lee office told Mr. Stewart, the sheriff wanted to see him. What I did, that's my civil right. So I go in the office and I say, yes sir, Mr. Sheriff. He said, what's your problem? He said, you put these homemade ballot and everything, and you got all these votes. And I said, I mean, what I did wrong? He said, well, what you want? And I said, I just want assets. He said, all you want? I said, yeah. He said, well, Sheriff, understand one thing, is that oftentimes in our community, many times these young kids, they get arrested across the parish and they go to jail. Their mother and father don't have no money to get an attorney to represent them. And so if someone have access to the sheriff department, can just talk to you. He said, that's all you did all that, just for that? I said, yeah, Sheriff, I just want access to be able, if someone, I'm not talking about a kid, doing some real bad things, saying drugs. I'm not gonna call you for nothing like that, but say a kid gets stopped for any of the single things, mother and father can afford to hire attorneys to represent them. And I said, I want to have the ability to be able to call. So he gave me 3 numbers. So I don't know how old you were, but I may have to have your home number before you did. I know you was a little girl during that time. But he gave me about 3, 4 numbers. They didn't have cell phone then, but he gave me people, home numbers, and he introduced me to a lady named Betty Adams. And Betty and my mom got to be personal friends. They used to call my mom the police out of Salisbury. And she heard Miss Betty talk every single day. And my mama had more power than me. Somebody get in trouble, they said, it's Lola B. And she got on the phone, Betty, she said, Lola, what did happen now? But anyway, stand up and say this, is when you do protesting, vote, I don't know why, that just seemed me to go against the odds. When this man behind me, Donald Jones, when he ran for office, they said he had no chance, no elected official was against him, black or white, everybody was against him, but me. White and a few other people, we believe in Reverend Dr. Clay. So I brought him over to Sheriff Lee office. Sheriff Lee, I said, I got a young man I want you to meet. He said, Donald, Joe, get him out of my office. Sheriff, hold on. He said he radically militant. And I said, Sheriff, give him a chance. And I said, just hear him out. And one thing I can say about that, and Pastor Jones can tell you, when we left out of his office, he said, I done raised money against you. I did a fundraiser because my colleague, my friend asked me to raise money against you. Said, but I won't do nothing to hurt you. and he kept that word. He could have sent out a letter. He did not do that. And it's so many Chief Nick and Jimmy and Kenner. He was someone else that I can't talk to, Donna Jones. He radical militant, and that's the way we were labeled back in the day. If you spoke out, you were a radical militant. What the new word is now? Huh? I don't know. Well, anyway, whatever it is. But anyway, that's my reason for what I do. Because I love people, and I hope that we will come together. So I have one request before I sit down. Derek Shelton, Cedric Floyd, Byron Lee, Honorable Judges, Holmes, Johnson, all the elected officials, Mark Spear. I pray in my heart that we could sit down and realize that they fighting over, I call it, I told somebody the other day, they fighting over a drumstick. And it's a shame when they can just sit down, and ain't that many of them, can sit down, come together, and do what's best for the community. That's what it's all about. And I pray in my heart that will happen. I think Jefferson Parish, if I'm not mistaken, something in Gammon, I think Jefferson Parish is, I think on the West Bank is 42%. Others. So others can raise some hell at 42%. That others can dictate who be parish president, parish council, sheriff, only if we would come together. And all of us fighting for the same thing, don't care who running, who take office. We all want to be respected. And that's my goal. That's the honest reason why I do what I do. And I'm gonna keep on. I said it, no, I go up against him, he's my good friend and buddy. But if I disagree with him, he know I don't mind putting a candidate in the race. Whether it's Republican, Democrat, don't matter. As long as they have the interests of the people, that's why when I support somebody, that's somebody who loves somebody. So y'all ready to eat now? Yeah. And I know Pastor John would say one thing. There's nothing wrong. They got some good meals over there, some good food, and they got some wine, but he will always say, please don't drink enough to get drunk. The Bible don't say you can't drink, but don't want to see you get intoxicated. That's when you have a problem. Saying that to say this, that is my goal. Y'all go tell everybody that Charles Stewart say he hoping that all these political leaders will come together. And if we don't get out of our way, I think God will put on my heart to move you out of the way. You don't care who you are running. So saying that would be it. I think Pastor Jones is behind me. So I love y'all. Thank all y'all.
Glory, glory in the house. Who but Charles Stewart? Who but Charles Stewart? As I sit back and I watch the audience, and who but Charles Stewart could get Reverend Clay, former school board member Cedric Floyd, my good buddy, the contractor, the former cable man, Brian Carter, Anthony Penn, my statistician, and Ace Boom Coon partner for about 10 years. Who in the world could get this group of people together outside of Charles Stewart? So let's give them a big hand. You know it's a person is special when your daughter say, Daddy, did Mr. Charles have something to eat? And your wife say, Don, did Charles have something to drink? So you know that person is significant. And Charles has been a moving shaker. He has made so many changes and impact, and he's done a lot for the community. And as always, it's good to give a person their flowers while they're here. I always kid with him. I say, Charles, you know that 747 has been grounded for about 60 years. Don't take it out unless you show that you got some fuel for it. But he says, Cap, I'm taking it out with or without you. And not only when he gets out there, regardless of what happens, people come behind him and support him 100% because they know where his heart is. And when you know where a person's heart is, That's the most important thing. And speaking of hearts, I just want to share with you, sometimes we just gotta step back sometime and look at things and analyze them and deal with them for who they are. I had an opportunity, Reverend Clay asked me to go and I had some lunch with the council person. That was my first time in here, and that was my choice. Because I decided to go in the cave for 16 years with the blessings of the Lord. And it was a wonderful, wonderful meeting. She listened very, very carefully. And I sensed a sense of integrity and a sense of goodness about her. So let's not prejudge people.
Amen. Amen.
Let's not ever prejudge people. And let's stand on where a person stands for what's right for the community. And it's my hope and prayer that we all be open. And I don't know, someone said something that was key. They said, let's compete but not be nasty.
Yes.
And not spend all our time tearing other people down. Because I remember when Byron and I were so competitive in 1991, we just split the community in half. And it took about 2 years for us to bring the community back together. And that's why it's so important that we don't be nasty in the campaigns and everything that we do. And I just want to personally thank Charles, because no matter when I call on him the last 20 years, whatever he's doing, he's always stopped, he's always been there. A lot of times we have knocked down, dragged out arguments and confrontations. See, people see us together and they say, well, man, they're on the same page. No. We've had some knocked down, drag out arguments and conversation. One thing I can tell you is that he never lets the sun go down. I remember our worst argument we had about 11:30. I saw the phone ringing there. I said, I ain't answering that phone. It rung about 11:30, rung again about 12:30. I got in my car, I went by his house, knocked on the door, he opened the door, he said, come on in, Cap. And we sit down and talk. He never lets the sun go down on bad feelings or bad situations. And so he's an honorable person, he has integrity, and he'll give you the shirt off his back. I can tell you that. One story he didn't tell you. They offered him $50,000 in 1991 to jump ship. $50,000. I know this as a fact. And he didn't jump ship. He stayed the course, because I know some people who took the money. And God rest their souls. But Charles didn't take the money. And from that day to now, money has not been important to him. Relationships and parties have been important to him. And as I close, I was telling him about, he comes to me with these things all the time, and I know he's gonna bounce it off Brian, and he's good buddied, and then Brian gonna say what Cap think, and they're gonna go back and forth, and the end is gonna be what Charles thinks. And so I enjoy you, my brother. It's been a wonderful, wonderful experience. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. And even when everybody else jumped off the ship when I left out of public office, he stayed there. And people always ask him, hey man, why are you still hanging with Cap? And he said, Cap is my friend. And I want to thank you for being a friend, and God continue to bless you.
My auntie is here, that's my mom. I think 9 kids. Got one left, that's my auntie. I just want to stand up. All the family, nieces, sisters, brother, y'all know who y'all know I love you. If y'all want to talk, y'all can talk next door at the party.
Let us bow your head. Most gracious and everlasting Father, we thank you once again. God, we thank you for the people who took the time to prepare the food. We ask that you would bless the table, bless the cook, and bless the food. And also, all the people that came today, Lord, we ask that you would bless them, that you would go with them, Father, and be their pilot on their way back home, to protect them from any and all hurt, harm, and danger. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Let's eat. Let them go through that door. You can go through that door right here to the hall.
Follow me. I'll show you.